This forest, silent, dense, and at first glance, empty. For centuries, people looked here and saw nothing but trees, leaves, shadows, mist. But the Maya world was never lost. It simply became invisible. Because sometimes what erases a civilization is not war, not even time. Sometimes it is nature itself. But what if, beneath this silence, an entire city is still waiting? For decades, archaeologists explored the Maya world, step by step, with machetes, sweat, and often steel luck. But in the 21st century, the forest began to speak from above, or what LIDAR, light detection and ranging. Millions of laser pulses fired from an aircraft, slipping through leaves, brushing past branches, and finally touching the ground. The return time of each pulse reveals walls, roads, of course, entire cities, as if the jungle itself had been given X-ray vision. For a long time, the Maya were thought to be a handful of great cities surrounded by scattered villages. But LIDAR told a different story from a connected world. Vast road networks, agricultural terraces, palace complexes. This was not an isolated civilization. It was a system. And that raised a new question. If the Maya were this large, this organized, this advanced, why did we know so little? But for generations, our understanding of the Maya pointed south, toward the dense jungles of Guatemala, toward towering monuments and iconic capitals. It was here, scholars believed, that Maya civilization was born. But LIDAR data began to suggest something else. In the Yucatan Peninsula, a region once considered secondary, hundreds of previously unknown settlements emerged from the maps. These were not temporary camps. They were not minor outposts. They were cities. Cities connected by roads. Cities with ceremonial centres. Cities built far earlier than anyone had expected. The implication was profound. The rise of the Maya may not have begun in one single place. At the centre of this realization stood a modest-looking city. Its name was Kiwe. At first glance, Kiwe appeared unremarkable. A pyramid, a cluster of surrounding buildings. But archaeology rewards patience, and beneath the pyramid, something unexpected lay hidden. Ceramic analysis and radiocarbon dating revealed that the structure below was nearly 3 centuries older than the pyramid above it. This was no architectural accident. In the Maya world, building over an earlier structure carried meaning. The space of ancestors was sacred, and to build upon it was to claim legitimacy. Stone became politics, architecture became memory. When a later king sealed the palace of his predecessor, beneath a towering pyramid, he was making a declaration. This power is inherited, and it belongs here. And with that realization, the question could no longer be ignored. What if the North was not a frontier, but a cradle? Rest. For a long time, Maya society was described almost entirely through its kings and priests. Power at the top, labor at the bottom. but the evidence tells a more complicated story. Across northern Maya settlements, as archaeologists began finding stone houses, not palaces, but not huts either. These homes belonged to skilled workers, farmers, craftsmen, families with land, stability and choice. They were not elites, but they were not peasants. They formed something rare in the ancient world, a middle class. Their diets were diverse: squash, beans, maize, chili peppers, fruits from managed landscapes. Prosperity was not concentrated, it was distributed. Some archaeologists quietly refer to this moment as this Maya dream. But this dream rested on an invisible foundation. The Yucatan Peninsula has no rivers, no lakes, no permanent streams. Life depended on rain. The Maya did not see this as a weakness. They saw it as a design challenge. Yes, they carved vast chambers into limestone bedrock, underground cisterns known as chultans. Rainwater was guided from rooftops, courtyards, and plazas into these hidden reservoirs. And in some settlements, entire hilltops functioned as rain machines. Water was calculated, stored, managed. This was not survival, this was engineering. For centuries, this system worked. And because it worked, the Maya thrived. Prosperity endured, but it did not last forever. By the 9th century, a new force began to rise across the northern Maya world. It was the feathered serpent, Quetzalcoatl. This was not merely a god, it was an ideology. In powerful cities like Uxmal, new symbols appeared: intertwined serpents, figures of transformation carved into stone. Acceptance into this ideology meant legitimacy, political survival, but legitimacy came at a cost. Rulers endured extreme initiation ritual, bloodletting, isolation, physical sacrifice. And as with all ideologies, division followed. In Kiwe, the first signs of trouble were not found in weapons. They were found in stone. Construction projects expanded, palaces grew larger, upper stories were planned, and then they stopped. Scaffolding was never removed. Stairways remained unfinished. Walls were laid out, but never raised. This was not destruction. It was abandonment. Nearby hilltop estates were left behind, but at the same moment, pots were carefully placed, tools were stored, homes were tidied, pray. These people were not fleeing, yes. They were leaving, with the intention to return. For years, scholars searched for war, but there were no arrowheads, no mass graves. Then they looked upward. Some soil cores, sediment layers, tree ring records. They all told the same story. This was not one drought, it was many. droughts lasting years, sometimes decades. The Maya were prepared. But this time, nature was more patient. Does water alone does not sustain a civilization. Cooperation does. Governance, trust. And those are what we're already unraveling. The Maya did not disappear. The jungle simply claimed the time